Everyone's depressed. Why? Because everyone is broke. And you're more broke than you think. You remember that old Scotiabank commercial, you're richer than you think? Well, you're a Canadian in an 11th year of a Liberal government, and you're more broke than you think. Because 2 days ago, this government tabled a 400-page budget with a $78 billion deficit. The Prime Minister, who lectures us about economics, who caused record inflation in England, is now going to repeat the same in Canada by spending more money that we do not have. What happened to our country? More than 2 million people at the food bank. More than 700,000 of them are children. 700,000 Canadian children are starving. And this Prime Minister and this Finance Minister are pretending that everything's fine. I speak to hundreds, maybe thousands of people. No matter where they are on the economic ladder, everyone is worse off. Worse than they were 6 months ago, 5 years ago, and definitely 10 years ago. And these Liberals sit here in question period and they pretend that criticizing our economy is unpatriotic. It's the opposite. Standing up for your country when it's in trouble is the most patriotic thing one could do. Hear, hear. And I will do that because I remember what it was like a decade ago. That's right. Remember in 2014, the New York Times came out with a study finding that Canada's middle class was better than its US counterpart. 10 years ago, Canadians had the wealthiest middle class in the world. Yep. That's what I remember. When the Conservatives were in government, you had more money in your pocket, more ability to put your kid in hockey or music lessons, the ability to go out for dinner with your loved one, to travel and to sleep better at night, because we had money. And then came Justin Trudeau and promised to invest more. He said, we needed an economy that works for everyone. And to do that, he'll run a few small deficits. And now, a decade later, we're broke. And now this Prime Minister and the same old Liberal government are promising to do the same. When a Liberal says invest more, what they really mean is spend more. I'm sitting here 2 days ago. The page hands me the budget book. I open the budget book. I don't care what this Finance Minister has to say, and I can't believe my eyes. A $78 billion deficit. To put that in perspective, that's $5,400 for every Canadian family. Just like that, you owe $5,400 more to the banks, to the bondholders. Or he'll print it on you, flooding the economy with more money to chase nearly the same amount of goods, because we don't have any growth. So that will raise or inflate the price of everything you buy. Can you believe it? $55 billion in interest payments alone next year. That's more than $1 billion a week on interest. That's more than the federal government collects in GST from all Canadians. Think about it. Next time you see GST on your receipt, or you see HST that lumps in the GST, all of it goes to service the interest on our debt. At the end of the year, our debt will be $1,347 billion. $1,347 billion. Over the next 5 years, this Liberal government is projecting to add another $320 billion in debt. Over the next 5 years, Canada will pay close to $330 billion in interest alone to foreigners, to banks, to the PM's cronies. It's our money. To be clear, government has no money. It's our money. It either takes it from us in taxes or it prints it. But Canadians are some of the highest tax people in the world already. An average Canadian family spends over 42% of its income on tax. Income tax, payroll tax, sales tax, fuel tax, alcohol tax, everywhere tax. And what do? What do we have to show for it? Do we have good health care? Do we have good infrastructure? No. We have a Prime Minister whose deficit is double than Justin's. Justin's out there partying with Katy Perry, but we're all screwed. We should be the wealthiest country in the world because we're blessed with the greatest natural resources in the world. Some of the world's highest proven oil reserves, natural gas that could satisfy the insatiable demand that the world is experiencing for electricity. rare earth minerals that everyone's chasing. We should be living like Saudi prince. We should be like the Qataris. 400 pages in this budget, but no pipeline. Surprise. We're shooting ourselves in the foot. Why don't we just get out of our own way? Why doesn't government get out of our own way and allow us to drill for energy, to export natural gas, to use this blessing that are natural resources to put more money in Canadians' pockets?
Hear, hear.
We're actually importing oil from Russia. Think about how crazy that is. Other petroleum producers will not stop, but they pollute the environment. Canada has some of the best environmental practices in the world. Those that are passionate about the environment should want more Canadian oil instead of dirty oil from the Middle East. Free our natural resources. Free Canada's oil and gas. That would mean a richer middle class. That will mean less people at the food bank and a better life. Lower taxes for real. The finance minister grandstands every day and is yelling at us how he's making life more affordable for 22 million Canadians. $20 a family a month is the size of their income tax cut. An average family gets $280 a year. That's it. I could never imagine a budget that spends so much and does so little. What are they building? What are you building? A couple of thousand shoeboxes for apartments. At $3 million an apartment when you factor in the cost of the bureaucracy. I'll tell you what else they're doing. They're trying to fool us by separating this deficit into two. This Prime Minister is telling us that the actual deficit is not $78 billion. No, $40 billion of it is capital investment. So it's only $38 billion. This Prime Minister is living by his own accounting rules. Abracadabra. The deficit is not $78 billion, it's $38 billion. Shame on them. Shame on them for this budget. Shame on them for making Canadians broke. Mr. Speaker, I was at the grocery store not too long ago, and there was a very kind lady right in front of me, and she had a small basket of groceries, and among them was an English cucumber. I love cucumber. And she asked the sales clerk, the lady at the cash register, how much this English cucumber was. And the lady at the cash register gave her the price. And the shopper, the lady in front of me, said, "Oh, that's okay. I will not need it." And she returned it. And the sales clerk politely smiled at her. And I can imagine how many times a day this person hears that. When a Canadian comes from the grocery aisle to check out and they have to leave items behind because they can't afford them. How dare this government be proud of this budget with the endless taxes and endless inflation? They make Canadians broke. Shame on them. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Questions and comments? Questions et commentaires. The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Government House Leader.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. The far right started this speech off by saying that Canada is in its middle class and comparing it to Stephen Harper. Interesting thing. I just quick Google search. Here's what one story says. For decades, the United States boasted the honor of having the richest middle class. However, since 2019, Canada has the wealthiest middle class of any country in the world. Well, Mr. Speaker, it's no surprise. You know, when he talks about the deficit, and the deficit situation, back in 2009, 2010, that's when his leader sat around government. In a real dollar sense, they actually had a higher deficit, I should say, than the current budget being proposed. I'm wondering if he thinks that the leader of the Conservative Party was irresponsible back then for putting such a deficit on Canadians.
Honourable Member for York Centre.
I don't know what that member is saying. What happened in 2008, 2009? We had the global financial crisis that this Conservative government, that the former Conservative government handled with flying colors. That's what happened in 2008, 2009. And then, just 10 years ago, Canada had the wealthiest middle class. That's according to the New York Times. And then, what happened 10 years ago? The Liberals come to power. And now we have 2 million people at the food banks, and 700,000 of them are children. Shame on you.
Just want to remind members that we speak through the chair, not at the chair, although I'll take the admonition in stride. Questions and comments? Questions et commentaires de l'honorable député.
The honourable member for Drummond. Yes, Mr. Speaker, I'm not sure that you want insults to go through you. Listen, I listened with interest to my colleague's speech. He said something in his speech that raised a question with me. He said that we're importing oil from Russia. And I'm not sure if that's true. I know that there's a ban on importing Russian oil that's been in place since 2022, and we hadn't since 2019. But if it's true that we are importing oil from Russia, I'd like to ask my colleague to please expand on that information by giving numbers. What are we importing? Because that's not legal in Canada.
The honourable member for York Centre.
Last year, we've imported oil from Russia. We're importing oil from Kazakhstan. We're importing oil from Venezuela. We have some of the highest proven oil reserves in the world. We should be the wealthiest country in the world instead of being reliant on other countries for energy.
Questions and comments? Questions et commentaires. The honourable member for Long Range Mountains.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you to my colleague for his passion. It resonates with me. I'm wondering when the government responds on affordability with these programs that they're offering, what's the actual reality of that in terms of his constituents and the impacts of these programs? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for York Centre.
I thank the honourable member. The reality is, first, they're trying to address problems that they create, but they never address the actual problem. Instead, all they do with their proposed programs is they create more bureaucracies. Think about what they've done to date. They've proposed to build more homes. Instead of doing that out of the Ministry of Housing, they create a new agency, Build Canada Homes. They propose to build more projects. They talk about 4 pre-existing projects out of the first 5. And instead of running it out of the PMO, they build a new agency called the Major Projects Office. They talk about helping Canadians with defense procurement. And instead of doing that out of the Department of Defense, they create a new agency for defense procurement led by someone that has no military experience whatsoever. This is lunacy. We need to give Canadians more of their money back instead of building these bureaucracies.
Questions and comments? Questions and comments? The member for Waterloo.
Brilliant. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this member was duly elected to the Provincial Legislative Assembly, and what this party federally does not reflect his progressive values. And Premier Ford at that time called this member's comments irresponsible. He said, by spreading misinformation, he is undermining the tireless efforts of our frontline healthcare workers at this critical time. He also said, Premier Ford said, I will not jeopardize a single Ontarian's life by ignoring public health advice. I asked this member, based on his comments today, talking about the public purse, and I agree, taxpayers work hard. This member has put his name on ballots multiple times. He's funded by the public purse. Does he not have regard for the fact that he is employed by the public purse and that the government has a...
Got to interrupt the member to give the chance for the member for York Centre to respond in 25 seconds or less.
I'm proud of my political career. I'm proud of my career in the Provincial Legislature of Ontario. I'm proud for standing up for millions of Canadians who didn't have a voice. And I'm proud of the Leader of the Opposition for welcoming me into this party and into this Parliament, and to the people of York Centre for bringing me back to represent them. Thank you.